Juan, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, tinagmulan at babalikan. Konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay asal. Kami nandito lang, sabay na pakinggan ang mga kwento nyo. Isigaw natin sa mundo, bagong bayani namin kayo. Sipag at tapang nyo, hinialay sa mundo, sinasaludo namin kayo. Pilipino, itaas ang noo, ipagmalaki mo ang galing nyo, isigaw sa mundo.
Magandang hapon UK, magandang hapon Europa, magandang gabi Pilipinas at kung saan man po kayo naroroon, magandang hapon po, magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ihahatid namin sa inyo ang kwento ng iba-ibang mukha ni Juan sa special program, live streaming Konek, Kontra Corona, here on Facebook and YouTube. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal. Samahan niyo kami sa mga natatanging kwento ng Pinoy sa Europa na mag-iiwan ng aral, impormasyon at pag-asa.
Ito ang Kwentong Pinoy, Kwentong Migrante, Kwentong Konek, Kontra Corona. I'm Crystal Diaz.
For our Kontra Corona project for the next 6 months, the National Lottery Community Fund is graciously funding this project to serve the Filipino community in England, UK, and beyond. This afternoon, we will have Matron May Parsons, a prolific vaccinator, to share some tips on how to effectively battle the spread of the deadly novel coronavirus disease. And Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova will take us inside UK's intensive care with her story and insight. So leave your comments and questions during the live streaming. Crystal, good afternoon. What do we have for Immigration 101?
Well, what we have today is what we call Brexit. So it's basically the impact of Brexit on freedom of movement. I have a guest today, a Filipina. She came from Spain 4 years ago. So we'll be seeing her later on in the show.
Okay, hindi na po natin patatagalin because we want to get to know this person. It was a moment in the UK when the country took a huge step towards a return to normality. On a cold December morning, a 90-year-old Coventry grandmother became the first person in the world to have the Pfizer BioNTech coronavirus vaccine. And the person who administered the vaccine was British Filipina matron of respiratory wards at University Hospital Coventry and Warwickshire NHS Trust. In this segment, let's get to know this inspiring, amazing British Pinay, May Parsons. Welcome to the show, May. Hi.
Hello.
Good afternoon, live from Coventry.
Rugby.
Okay, yes, rugby. Okay, May, you will be in history being the first person to inoculate the COVID-19 vaccine. Did it dawn on you how big the task was?
No, not at first. I was informed that I was chosen to be the one to do it, and all I could think of was how good it is to be having something that can protect our people, our community. And never really dawned on me that it was going to be something global or anything that's going to I don't know, put me in this position where people would want to speak to me about my experiences. It's just, I wanted to provide something for my community and for my patients and for my colleagues as well, something that can protect them. So it didn't really dawn on me that this is going to be so big everywhere. But yes, the Filipino community around the world has been so supportive, and
Yes, giving kind words. You are part of the peer vaccination program in your trust. And for 3 years running, you've been part of this program. And this year, you had the most vaccine that has been given by a vaccinator. A record number 140 jabs in one day. So it gained you this moniker prolific jabber. What a record. So May, this has become your mission.
Yes, yes. So vaccination is something that I'm really, really passionate about. Obviously, in the olden days, we have polio, we have measles. You know, a lot of people die from these really deadly viruses and bacteria. But with the vaccination, we've managed to actually eradicate some of these really deadly diseases, and I am very passionate about them. And I think every year it protects a lot of people, whether we know it unknowingly or not. Some people are anti-vaxxers, and because I think that's in terms of education, they read all the things that they have on social media, or they Google it or something like that. But I think the messaging in there is wrong, so that's why they're led astray. But with vaccination, I'm very passionate about it. And when it comes to my patients and keeping them safe, I think that if I give the flu vaccine for my staff, then that means that they're not going to pass it on to their vulnerable patients. And that's why I have dedicated times to actually make sure that all of my colleagues are protected. And yeah, I've pulled that through. And I think it shows my commitment and my dedication in actually getting that message through.
Okay. May, although your team was being prepared for the rollout of the vaccine, you were only informed a few days before that you will be the first person to do the first jab. What is the message here, you being British Filipino?
For us, I think I don't think it was actually intended for anything else rather than to see the most experienced person to actually do the jab. So for me, I was only chosen because I had a lot of experience for it, not intended to be I don't know, be put in some sort of celebrity, thing. But it's just that because I was doing my job and I was really good at it, and I was passionate about it. So I think for us Filipinos around the world, I think we are very hardworking. The values that was put in all of us since the beginning of of our lives, we've always kind of been told, no, hard work, dedication, show your passion. And all of those things are actually coming through. And I think for it to be actually recognized by everyone is a good thing. And I think sometimes there's not enough celebration and not enough of good messaging out there for everyone. And I think at the moment, when everything is so bleak, we need to be looking at the positive things that we can help our colleagues and our everybody, really, to make sure that we're all kind of just holding on to each other and focusing on the positive things that's happening in the world.
May, you grew up in Pasay City, studied at a Baclaran Elementary School Central, went to Arellano University in high school, and when you were admitted at the University of Santo Tomas to study nursing, you told me that you found your calling. Tell us about it.
So when I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher, first of all, and then I wanted to be a surgeon. My mom has high blood pressure, and when you're a kid, you try and want to fix people or help people and things like that. So I said I wanted to be a cardiac surgeon. Obviously, that's in the innocence of a child thinking, oh, my mom's got high blood pressure, I want to help her. Obviously, when I got to USD and started my training there, and Tomashan nurses are trained into having the biggest heart and making sure that your patients are in the top of your priorities and things. So I realized I actually like nursing. I like the patient contact. I like the communication. I like the first-hand care that we give to our patients. Because when you become a doctor, you get so busy, you hold on to, 30, 40 people a day. Whereas with nurses, you're directly talking to them and you're directly giving them the care that you wanted, and the quality of care that you can is something that you can influence. So yeah, so I loved my job, and I thought there's nothing better for me to do than just be a nurse, Tomashan nurse, that is.
Wow. And you work at UST Hospital when you graduated in 2000. and found an opportunity to work in the UK, and you rose from being a scrub nurse to a matron. It tells us about you, how hard working you are. But you also told me in a previous interview that your mother influenced you a lot in a way wherein you wanted to have a balance of family life as well as pursuing your dream. So tell us about that you wanted to be a hands-on mother even when you were so tired working.
So basically, I had my kids, they were young, and I had the opportunity to work nights. So I grabbed that opportunity and actually said, okay, well, I wanted to be a hands-on mom because my mom was working in the Middle East when I was growing up. And obviously we had other family members looking after us then. So for me, in my selfish way, I wanted to see my kids grow up and I wanted them to experience having a mom, because obviously mine was different. Growing up was different for me. So I said I wanted to make sure that my kids see me during the day. So I was working nights, and for 14 years, you get to sleep maybe 2 hours a day. And that went on for a really long time. And looking back at it now, I think the sacrifices that you give as a mother is something that you can decide and you can choose. And I've chosen to let go of sleep and then, do the first, the things that I have to do with my kids, because I want them to, even though in the UK you can give them to daycare, you can have care, you can put them in nurseries and things. No, I wanted them to be with me. So yeah, but now I think I'm hoping that it will give them a positive experience of it when they grow up and think actually there is value in growing up with your parents and making sure that you're with your relatives and your family that loves you and protects you. So that's my choice. And I think at the end of the day, we decide what we think is best for our kids ultimately. And as a mom, I'm sure every mom out in there wants to be giving the best to their children.
Okay. Because the story of your mother and yourself is an OFW story, marami po kababayan tayo na nakaka-relate dito dahil this is a show for overseas Filipinos. So you told me na 20 years nagtrabaho sa Middle East ang nanay mo to support the family. And we are lucky to have your mom today to join us just to say hello. Yes, good afternoon, Miss Zen.
Hello.
Hi,
Good
Miss
afternoon.
Zen. Alam nyo, this is unplanned. Napag-usapan lang namin ito kanina ni May Parsons that we will have you on the show. Kasi 20 years nagtrabaho po kayo sa Middle East to support your family, obviously, katulad ng ginagawa ng maraming Pilipino. How proud are you of your daughter, of what she has become?
I am very, very proud of her and very, very ecstatic on her achievements. And I'm really, really, really happy for her.
Oh,
Mom.
So yung 20 years po ninyo na pagtatrabaho nyo sa Middle East, sa ibang bansa is to support, syempre, yung pamilya ninyo sa Pilipinas para matupad yung mga pangarap niya. And now that, yung pangarap ni May maging nurse, maging to be on top of her game, ay natupad. Proud na proud po kayo syempre sa kanya.
Yes, we are. And my goodness, I cannot tell you how much I am proud of my gorgeous daughter.
Nung nakita niyo po siya na sa television here in the UK, by the way, sa mga nanonood po sa atin, si Miss Zen Robert Shaw ay nasa UK din. Which part of the UK po?
I live in Durham.
In Durham. Okay. So nung nakita po ninyo siya sa television, although siguro yung mga ibang tao hindi alam na siya yon because nakamask nga siya, ano po yung naramdaman ninyo?
Well, everybody at work, especially, they're saying, "Oh, that's May, that's Zen's daughter." So it's like I'm the celebrity's mom. It's so unreal, and everybody keep telling me, "Oh, well done. She's lovely and she's doing a good job, and we are so proud of her." And I said, "Yes, I am very proud of her."
Okay. Siguro po ang maibabahagi ninyo sa mga kababayan natin na OFW, doong malayo sa pamilya nila, anong mensahe yung pwede ninyong i-share para how to raise a child like May na hindi po siya na-derail sa kanyang ambisyon, sa pag-aaral? What advice can you give them?
Well, my message is, well, just keep in touch with the family, be real, have faith in the people that are taking care of them, and also have faith that your children understands the situation they are in, that the parent who leaves to go abroad needs to do it because of necessity, and also to help the children reach their goals. So it's both ways, really. The parent and the child should understand what they are sacrificing for. And May, luckily, she's a bright kid, and yes, she is lovely. And I'm so glad that I was the inspiration of her profession.
Yeah, profession. Not only that, to be the best mom that she can be, because
As a,
yeah,
and as a mom, a great mom.
Well, maraming salamat po for joining us this afternoon. So kung meron
She's
po
a super mom.
I can tell that. When I had her first interview for ABS-CBN, sinabi niya nga na hindi na siya halos natutulog. Duty sa hospital, and then mag-aalaga sa mga anak niya. Talagang the sacrifices that moms go through para sa kanilang mga anak. Katulad din po ninyo that you had to sacrifice to be away from your family, working in the Middle East just to make sure that you provide for them. Yun po ang nakaka-inspire sa, it's a love, nag-unfold itong lovely story ninyong mag-ina sa amin araw. So it's really inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story. Pwede po,
thank you.
Oo, sa mga nanunood na gusto po ninyong batiin, because I know Sunday is a family day and we're taking away that time para makasama namin kayo dito. Go ahead and batiin po niyo sila bago natin i-close yung segment. Miss Robert Shaw, yes, go ahead po, ma'am.
May, right, pinabati ko po ang aming mga pamilya sa Moncada, Tarlac, ang mga pamangkin, ang mga kapatid ko. Can I name names?
So go ahead po, ma'am. Go ahead.
Vivian, Gay, Kenneth, Joy, my mamang, my sister in Australia as well, Irene. Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many of them.
Raynel and Raymond.
Help me out, May.
Raynel, Raymond, Richard.
Okay. Maraming salamat. Anyway, magbabalik pa po kami sa segment 2. Kasama pa rin po natin doon si May Parsons. And we will let you go na po, Mrs. Robert Shaw. And yung pwede naman po kayo mag-message doon po sa thread na ito kung sino po yung mga nakalimutan ninyo. But we really appreciate you for joining us. Salamat po sa inspiring story po ninyo. Sumasaludo tayo sa mga overseas workers natin na nagsasakripisyo para sa kanilang pamilya. Magbabalik po ang One You Connect. Nagbabalik po ang One You Connect at kasama pa rin natin si May Parsons. Also joining us in this segment, of course, Crystal Diaz and Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova. Dr. Prado Casanova finished her pre-med at UST and obtained her medical degree sa pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila. rendered service in the community for 3 years via the Manila Health Department. Following that, she did her residency training in anesthesia at Hospital ng Maynila. She came to the UK in 2001, worked as a trainee anesthetist for almost 4 years. She works for the NHS, and she is now a specialty doctor. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova. Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon. Salamat sa imbitasyon.
Yes, okay, Crystal, go ahead, fire your first question dahil busy afternoon for all of us here.
Yes, I mean, we're all dying to know what they're going to say. So the first question is, for Dr. Bernadette, please give us a brief description of what you do at the hospital, especially during the pandemic.
So, in reference to my role as the specialty doctor in anesthetics, we obviously have to see patients when they get referred to us. Patients normally come via the A&E, or they've been admitted in the wards and then they deteriorate and they ask us to review the patient for intensive care support. It could be, most of the cases nowadays with the pandemic, it would be along the lines of giving them breathing support or respiratory support. So that's what we do. We see patients, we assess them, and we decide to take them to the intensive care unit for organ support, at which point then we decide whether the patient needs to be hooked up to the ventilator, be given sort of put in an induced coma to speak of, and then manage the patient. So normally, without the pandemic, we would be doing these things for patients who are acutely unwell, either with sepsis or with basically life-threatening condition where we can support organs. So that's pretty much my role, working in intensive care unit. Before the pandemic, also, well, even during the pandemic, I would also be involved with anesthetizing patients in theaters. So giving them anesthetics for whatever operation they are going to have to undergo. But because of the priorities that the hospitals are now putting in place, meaning we would now have to probably prioritize cases such as cancer and emergency or trauma cases. That means it would be those cases that I would be doing in theaters, but most of the time now, since the pandemic, most of my working time now is spent in intensive care unit.
Okay, thank you for that. May, what about you? Can you please also give us a brief description of what you do as a matron, respiratory wards at University Hospital Coventry and Warwickshire? What does your job entail?
Yeah, so my role at the moment is, because I'm matron for the respiratory wards, is to make sure that they have enough training, they have enough staff. We're covering all of those sickly and poorly patients, that they've got a proper process for escalations. So at the minute, in the first wave, I was redeployed to ITU to help out with the ventilated patients. That's because of my background. But this time around, in the second wave, I am matron for respiratory, so I have to ensure that the wards that I'm managing are actually up to date. They can look after those patients, and at the moment we are the support wards for HDU, so critical care beds. So we are increasing the capacity for ITU beds in my hospital, but also we have turned a part of my wards to actually be able to support patients that are not quite there yet to be admitted to ITU, but actually give them some ventilation support. So we've got that in my ward as well. So on top of all the respiratory infectious diseases as well that we have, we look after TB patients, and all the COVID positive patients go into my ward as well.
Okay, wow. So is it really true? Because the reports have revealed that there are now 32,000 COVID cases in hospitals in England, and 75% more than the peak, during the peak of the first wave. So do you really see that? Ito po ba yung nakikita ninyo in the hospitals where you work at the moment?
For me, yes. The latest report in my trust is that we have got actually a double of what it was on the first peak. without conveying, privacy rules and things, we have got a lot more this time. Yes, so the wards and the amount of COVID positive that requires hospitalization is definitely higher than the first wave.
Okay. Yes. Crystal, you have a question for Dr. Bernadette?
Yes. So, please tell us what it was like in the ICU during the peak of the pandemic in March, and compare that with the current situation.
As May had said, and from what we've read in the papers, it's true about the increased number of cases this time around compared to the first wave. So at the moment, we are busier than we were during the first wave. I think during the first wave, we probably, I would say, we prepared for it before it arrived, because obviously we heard about the experience in Italy. We heard about the experience in Wuhan. We've read about them. We got ourselves really prepared. We've reorganized the wards. We increased our capacity and added more machines.
Mhm.
Now, with this time around, obviously there was a lull, wasn't there? So we had the time in spring or summer where the cases significantly dropped down.
Mm-mm.
So we then had to restart doing elective cases again. Now, because of the winter pressures and the second wave, or if it is the third wave now, we then found ourselves increasing our capacity to probably, some hospitals are saying they're more than 300% their capacity for intensive care facilities. And we are probably now a little more than 100%. So we're having to now use other areas and put ventilators in there to accommodate patients. So just to put this into perspective, it's not just the COVID now. We also have the cases that we normally have during the winter months. So
Yeah.
year in and year out, we have the winter pressure. So you have patients coming in with exacerbations of COPD. May will know about that because she's a respiratory specialist nurse. So you have the asthma, we have the pneumonias, we have not only the illnesses, we also deal with mental health problems. So you probably find people now having to do so overdoses, self-induced harm requiring intensive care support. And add to that, you still have the patients who have cancers, patients who have, cardiac, sort of myocardial infarctions or heart attacks. So you add that into the mix, and then you have the COVID cases on the rise in the community. Obviously, that means increased admissions to hospital, subsequently increased admissions to intensive care, and then you have this overwhelming number of cases that you have to deal with. So this time around, so we're having to, as May had said, we're having to reorganize the wards. We have to cohort the COVID cases separately from the non-COVID cases. So intense pressure, and I think it's up and down the country this time around. And obviously you have the problems with facilities and staffing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
May, how would you describe the daily battle in your hospital, the daily battle against COVID?
So first and foremost, what the main issue is with my hospital is the staffing. Now, we're not in a bubble, so that when we go into the wards and we're looking after these patients, it doesn't mean that we don't contract the COVID. So that is the most pressing pressure, is that because we don't have people to look after these people for the patients that we actually get. So if I contract COVID, that means then I will be off work for 2 weeks isolating. So basically it's the outbreak, and it's the fact that we're lacking nurses anyway to start with, and then you add the infections, you add the outbreak, you add the normal winter flu, you add the people contact things, the people that have been in contact in the community about when they've been in contact with, say for example, you go to Tesco's, you go for shopping. So all those things compound the pressure with the staffing anyway to start with. So for me, in my role at the moment, I'm mostly clinical to support the staff that we have at the minute and to be able to provide the safest care, because obviously the patients that are coming in now on the second wave are really, really highly acute in terms of their needs and their clinical needs. They're sicker. So that means then that we have to be able to have the right ratio of staff looking after these patients that are really, really poorly. That in terms of escalations to ITU, there's a lot of them that has to go to ITU if we cannot actually safely deliver the care that they need in the wards I have. So pressure in staffing, pressures in making sure that everyone is actually social distancing, keeping their PPEs on, hand hygiene and all those things. And on top of that, we get a lot of different patients coming in for, like Dr. Casanova said about the TB, COPD, elderly people that needs respiratory support. All those things compound to the needs for beds in the hospital. And if you don't think about the other things that's happening in the world, like people that's going on accidents, they are having traumas, they have to go to ED. These things add to the pressure that we're already currently having with COVID. So yeah, the pressure doesn't stop, unfortunately.
Oh, that's why we salute you, the frontliners. I will just ask this to Dr. Bernadette. A lot of people are speculating about the new variant, that it is more virulent. There is more cases. There are more cases of the new afflicted with that, and people are asking, is it really more transmissible?
Okay, yeah. So with regards to, let's just sort of give a background. So we know what viruses are. They're not living things, so they can't survive without a host. And the nature of viruses are that they mutate constantly. So to put everyone's mind at ease, the one that we are having now, the variant that we have in Europe and the UK is actually different from the one that they had in Wuhan. So it's always evolving. So the viruses will have to find means to survive the environment. Now, the variant that we have, I think, if you read the papers, I think they were pretty much in other countries as well. The only thing is the scientific community in UK is very robust that they managed to identify this. So, so this variant that we have, they found this to be very transmissible, I think in the range of 50 to 70% transmission, but it is not proven to be deadlier or to cause severe COVID. So, but obviously, it follows that if you have more transmission, you have more sick patients, you have more admissions, subsequently, you have more deaths. And the reason for that is the virus mutated in a way that it's managed to stick better to our upper airways. So that's, just to simplify it. So I think there's some morphological changes with the spike proteins that they're able to stick better in your nostrils, in your airways. So you have a higher load of this virus. So you then pass it on sort of more efficiently to people you talk to. So if you don't observe this mask wearing, keeping social distancing 2 meters apart, opening the windows, so obviously you are at more risk of catching it. Now, it's not deadlier, meaning young, fit, healthy individuals will probably have mild or even no symptoms at all, but they're still passing it on. Now, obviously, the weakest link, the people who are susceptible, people who have comorbidities, elderly people will then catch it from the young people, and then they will be the ones ending up in hospitals. So we cannot be complacent and say, well, it's less deadlier, it's more transmissible. It doesn't really matter. It matters because we have to worry about our family, our friends, our elderly neighbors, or even people in the shops if you go to. So we still have to do the distancing. We still have to do the mask wearing. And I think there was a question about the vaccine. I think I'll probably just jump on that as well. There's a question about
Shall we
the,
read that?
yeah, the question is related to the vaccine is that if you have been vaccinated by the vaccine, of course, will you still
Right.
get it?
yes.
Even if you had it twice, na?
Yes. So
Yes, I've had mine too.
yeah. So the vaccination, the vaccination doesn't basically stop you having it. What the vaccine does, it prevents you being severely unwell, requiring hospitalization, obviously then preventing deaths. So that's what the vaccine does. It doesn't stop you harboring the virus. You can still harbor the virus and you can still pass it on. So that's why even if we've had the vaccines as frontliners, we still have to wear masks. We still have to don on our PPEs because we don't want to be passing it on. If we then harbor it, if we take it, so basically the vaccination is to protect yourself. If you've been immunized, it's to protect yourself from the deadly form of the disease. It stops you being admitted to hospital. It stops you dying, but it doesn't stop you transmitting the virus. Now, there was an article I read about AstraZeneca, the Oxford vaccine. Apparently, it could stop transmission. So this will, if it's true, because apparently it's been peer reviewed, and if it is true, then maybe, as they say, this will be the game changer. This Oxford vaccine will probably stop people harboring the virus, eventually stop people spreading it. And then that's the only way we could probably say achieve what they call the herd immunity. So yes, no, we can't be complacent. If you've had the vaccine, you can still harbor it. You still want to avoid your relatives who have not had the vaccine, especially the vulnerable ones, your elderly parents, aunties, uncles, friends. So we can't sort of put our guard down. We still have to carry on what we're doing. And so
the advice, Doc, is to really take the vaccine.
Well,
Make sure that you actually go for it. Yes.
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 May mentioned about anti-vaxxers during the first part of the program. We can't force people to believe. Some people are just set in their ways, aren't they? However much you tell them, however much science have published studies about the safety of it, if you think about it, vaccination or developing a vaccine is a very complex situation. We've benefited from smallpox vaccination, benefited from hepatitis, from all sorts of vaccine, measles, polio, and we have them. I mean, we've used them, we've taken them, we've been protected from them. How is it different from the coronavirus? The scientific community, I think, it's admirable that they've done pretty much doing this and developing a vaccine in such a short time. I think credit to the governments as well, who put millions and millions of money into research and conducting clinical trials without the limitation of funding. I think we have to understand, when you develop a vaccine, you have to have a lot of money. So sometimes they don't work. Now, because the government, most of the first world countries have put in money and said, okay, here's the money, whether it's successful vaccine or not, just carry on with the research, do the clinical trials, and if we have more than 50% efficacy or 60% efficacy, that's good enough. And I think that's why some people say, oh, it's rushed, it's this, it's that. I don't think it is that. I think it's just because the focus of the scientific community and the government, the funding, it's all there, it's available to them to use it, so we can have it to stop all of this. But you still have people who say, oh, well, I'll try, I'll see what the others, we'll try, we'll let them do it first, right? Well, let's have them, let's let them have it first, and then we'll see what happens to them. If nothing happens to them, then we'll have it, which is really ill-advised, because the people who are dying maybe now, or people who will die in 2-3 weeks time, when we are expecting the peak admission, imagine if they were offered this vaccine, right, 3-4 weeks ago, and they refused it. wouldn't it be sad that they end up dying in 5 weeks' time when they had the chance to protect themselves? And I think that's a question these anti-vaxxers should really ask themselves. And although the number of cases are now coming down, the number of deaths will probably still increase, because if we think about how the COVID is progressing, you get infected and it's only towards the second week that you become very unwell. So that's why they're projecting the peak of intensive care admissions and hospital admissions to happen in the last week of January. So I think we have to bear that in mind. So, if you have, it's not at the time to be complacent yet. Let's not sort of get overwhelmed or sort of have this false safety with, the number of cases are coming down, going out to the grocery now, I'm going out, meet my friends at the park, have a few drinks, or, sneak out and see my friends, the neighbors won't know, kind of thing. No, we can't be complacent.
Okay.
If I could put my hand up, because I was on the fence on this one when the first vaccine, was announced. But knowing what Oxford had done, the Oxford vaccine is actually, I think, more powerful than the other one, Pfizer. And I'm actually now pro-vaccine. And if I have the chance and I get the chance, I will go for it. And I will advise everyone to have it done as well.
Okay, there's a question here from Grant Ganaban O'Neill for May Parsons. Do you want to be called vaccine queen, or do you consider yourself a vaccine queen?
No, not at all. I've been called many names, but I don't know. Whichever one sticks, I don't mind. May is nice.
By the way, can we just acknowledge this lady? Is it Adeline Kawitan who actually asked the question, and Dr. Bernadette answered the question for us.
So
thank you for that, Adeline.
The answer, May, is no. I want to ask you also, May, how do you strike a balance between work, family life, and I understand you're also pursuing your master's in University of Coventry. How do you find the time?
You just have to do. You just have to do it. So it's time management is essential. I try to switch off when I get home, pero as everyone would know, it's probably really hard to come off the emails. It's hard to come off the phone. It's hard to not check up on the wards. It's hard to not check up on the staff, making sure that they're okay. It's just time management, maybe a little bit of stricter rules, and my husband, I tell him to tell me to get off my emails. I ask him to kind of push me back and say, you're off work, have a break. He does that to me. So if you have someone that can actually safeguard your resilience and your break time, that is something that you could possibly make sure na meron ka. Kasi with my job, it's really hard to switch off. So my husband always tells me, get off your emails, or have a break, or don't check your messaging for the staff and things like that. So it's almost kind of having that discipline within you to ensure na if you're working and you've got your school and it's all about the balance and making sure that you're actually protecting those times and making the time. I know that people say, oh, I haven't got time for this, I haven't got time for that. If you put that in your priority, and if you put that in a list that you say, actually, I need to do this and this and this and this, and you follow that stringently, then you can achieve. It's all about the drive, isn't it? And the passion. So if you really want to achieve something, you will make time.
Okay, fantastic. Do we have some more questions, Crystal, or shall we?
I have my own question. I think, can I just ask this? I know Filipino frontliners, they are firmly entrenched in the health sector, and they are stalwart workers for the NHS. The unimaginable toll on the staff is great. Is post-traumatic syndrome or disorder, is that real? Is that happening? Yes. Because
for me, personally,
what you have been experiencing, is that real?
So for me, it's real. It's very, very real. in the nursing community, in the healthcare staff. If you are a nurse with, I don't know, say for example, 5 years of experience, you will probably see 1 or 2 a month of death. On this COVID pandemic, you don't. So in one of my wards, we've had 8 in a day. 8 deaths in a day. So if you put that in perspective, when you're on a shift, 1 month, you'll probably see, I don't know, if you go 3 times a week that you go to work for 12 hours, you see 1 die in a month, for example. This time, it's 800% more. So for me, for the amount of deaths and the amount of people that are really, really poorly, and then there's nothing we can do about it, and there's nothing there physically to cure them and to make it bearable for them. That is something that nurses and healthcare workers strive to really provide. So for me, say for example, I go on a shift and I said, okay, I see this poorly patient, I want to give them the best that I can to make sure that they're saved or they go back to their health. With this COVID, we don't know what's going to happen to them. It's the lack of control, and it's the lack of, I don't know, hindi mo alam kung mamamatay sila or not, and there's nothing you can do. It's the helplessness and the amount of people dying. It's just surreal, and yes, PTSD is real. It's very real. For me, it is.
Okay.
So what I will say for my healthcare people that suffers the same thing, that thinks that actually I am anxious about it, I'm scared about it, please do reach out. There are services in the UK that provides this help, and we've got a dedicated Filipino telephone line for them. Please do say something. Please do reach out. There are services there that can help you. It's all about trying to recognize that in yourself, that you need the help, because no one will be able to offer you the help if you don't recognize it in yourself.
Correct.
So please do seek help.
Yes.
Can I just also add something to that with what May has said? It's not just about healthcare. Obviously, yeah, that's really a problem. Healthcare personnel and professionals having to deal with a lot of the stress. It's also with a lot of people in general, and how they have been unable to cope with the shielding and the isolation. And I think it's just to point out that we can do something about it in our own way to help out. So we can probably, organize some virtual activities with our friends, say maybe a pub, like a quiz, like a pub quiz or a bingo social, like what my friends down south organize. So I have a group of friends who are occupational therapists and physiotherapists, and so we organize these bingo socials online, virtual. You don't have to, so it's every weekends, just being available for someone, having someone to talk to reach out to people. So it's it doesn't take a lot of our time, just the phone and just talk to people and have virtual meetups, virtual night out, night in kind of thing. So you don't have to be going out. You can enjoy a few drinks with your friends online. And I think that's how we cope with all of this, with this isolation, with the shielding. I know it's difficult for the elderly people, especially because it's the loneliness that would kill them. And I know for a fact that I know somebody who said to me that, my grandma, she's almost 100 years old, but she's very lonely in the nursing home. So she would feign illnesses just so she could get into the hospital. And then when she gets to the hospital, she will then say, I'm being looked after. I'm happy here. I've got people I talk to. But then, unfortunately, then she got struck down by COVID, which then led to, to her demise. But I think the family were sort of saying, well, this, loneliness can kill, I think. The bottom line is we just need to be able to reach out to people as well, make ourselves available to phone calls, and just to listen, basically. And if we are the ones who are struggling, we should just make a phone call a friend, call a family, for somebody, and we just have to listen. I think we just have to be more compassionate.
Thank you. Whatever you shared with us this afternoon, talaga naman po, punong-puno, so much information, and I learned about so many other things. Yung nababasa natin sa dyaryo, nakikita sa telebisyon. Panghuli ng hingi namin sa inyo, thank you muna sa inyong panahon for your time today. Your parting message for our viewers and listeners, because we still have an opportunity naman to answer some of their questions later on our page. What would be your inspiring message, Dr. Bernadette and May, for those who would like to follow in your footsteps, or those who would like to have a career in the medical field?
Would you like to go ahead, May?
Yeah, sure. So for me, sa mga healthcare workers that, say for example, they're interested, I have a few people that's got in touch with me to say that they wanted to start working in the hospital. There are a lot of ways if you really want to come through and get a medical degree or a nursing degree or a caring degree, anything of that. So you just need to make sure that you're researching and get in contact with your peers that you know that are working in the hospital already. I think it's a vocation. So you have to be able to say, nah, actually, I want to care. Because what you don't want to be doing is, it's an opportunity to, people has got different motives. Nursing is it's a vocation. It's something that it cannot be taught. You cannot teach caring to people. So you have to have that instinct to start with. And also, if that's something that you want and it's something that you've decided to do, there are lots of ways to get into nursing and get into caring degree. Just research, do your research, go into universities. They have apprenticeships in our hospital. So we have apprentice for healthcare workers. We have apprentices for nursing of nurses, and we also have apprentices it's an apprentice route. So it means that you're working on the job already. So you can have a taster of actually this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life. So it's a good stepping stone to get in. So yeah. So if anyone wants to reach out and ask me how to get into nursing, please do. I welcome it. We need nurses here, and we need you. So please contact me if you need.
Dr. Casanova?
Honestly, I don't really want to say, please join the medical profession, especially during this time of pandemic. I probably wouldn't encourage, but no, saying that, yes, it's a very fulfilling career, as May has said. You have to be passionate about making a difference in people's lives. You cannot be motivated by money. There's not much money in it. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of sleepless nights, not just, at work, but also at home, because you bring that at home with you. So you need to compartmentalize. You have to obviously then make sure that you're whole before you can probably give of yourself in this profession. But yeah, if you want to make a difference, all the information will be all on the website. I qualified in the Philippines. I came to the UK to work. I don't want to sort of drain whatever limited resource we have in terms of doctors in the Philippines, but anyone wanting to pursue a career in medicine via the Overseas Doctors Program, I think it's all on the General Medical Council website if you want it. And for Filipinos who are already second generation or who are here wanting to pursue a degree in medicine, I think it's all on the website. But as I said, you really have to think twice. And if you ask me if I am going to do it all over again, I don't think there's anything else I think I could do better than probably caring for patients. And if you are for it, then if you can make a difference, then I would strongly recommend you pursue a career in medicine. But don't use money as the motivation. There's not much money in it. We know that a lot of people are probably just, putting up blogs and all that just to earn more money the easy way. making themselves notoriously popular. But if you want a fulfilling career, a life that you could say and leave a legacy to your children, then do medicine.
Okay. Maraming
Doctor,
salamat po. But
You forgot to mention the tears, the rivers of tears that we have in the healthcare profession.
Oh my,
Blood, sweat, and tears. So tears.
blood, sweat, and tears. That's
Yes.
true, no? Especially, yes. But before you go, Dr. Casanova, kasi kanina pa po siya nagme-message, your friend, kaklase daw niya kayo sa Fernando C. Trinidad. She's my she's my classmate, yun ang sabi niya, and she is from Philippine Science High School and from UST, both of you. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So,
Hi, John. Yes, my friend. He's watching live, I think, all the way from the Philippines. Well, I've invited all my friends to join Juan Konek.
Good.
So to increase viewership as well.
okay.
Yes.
Maraming salamat po lahat ng nanonood ngayon, but most especially to our guest for the information that you shared with us, and of course for the pieces of advice. Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova, and of course Miss May Parsons. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Nagbabalik po tayo sa 1U Connect at this is our third segment. Hi, Crystal.
Hello. Welcome back sa mga ka-connect natin. And I'm sorry we are actually running late for this segment because we had such an interesting segment with Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova and of course matron May Parsons. But now in this segment is Immigration 101. The topic is about Brexit.
You know, Crystal,
Brexit.
We cannot di natin matatakasan yan. Last year, ang pinakamalaking balita was Brexit because that was the time that UK had to leave the EU. Pero ang nakalimutan natin, yung extension or the transition period ended on December 31, 2020. So, lahat po ng yan may domino effect. And this is what Crystal will tackle this afternoon. So, kind of again of Brexit, ang paborito kong topic.
Well, what is Brexit? Let me just explain. It's basically the withdrawal of UK from the European Union. So, if you're a family lawyer, nag-divorce na sila. So, it is officially ended on January 2020 after 47 years of membership. And the transition period ended on the 31st of December 2020. So it was just really at the end of last year. And so what does Brexit mean for freedom of movement and immigration? Basically, free movement of people is one of the EU's most celebrated achievements. British and Europeans were able to live, study, and work in the UK and Europe without immigration restrictions. Europeans think free movement has benefited the economy. In Britain, it was cited as one of the main reasons why people voted to leave the European Union. EU rules will cease to apply to the UK. I have my guest with me. Her name is Arlen, and she's been so patient waiting for her turn. Arlen, are you in the house?
Hi.
So our beautiful guest, Arlen, thank you very much for your patience. It's been such an amazing show today, and I hope you agree.
Yes.
Okay, so Arlen is from Wales, but before that, she was somewhere else. So, Arlen, you introduce yourself. Can you tell me about your background?
Oh, okay. I'm from Davao City, and I studied and finished my degree in Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in accountancy in the University of Mindanao. It's in Davao City, and I came to Spain and lived there for more than 25 years. I'm married to Edward, and we have a beautiful daughter, Eliza. And our life in Madrid is pretty good. Yeah, I was working in a bank, and my husband is was working in a prestigious restaurant. He's managing there. So I'm a bit nervous. Sorry.
It's okay.
Uh,
Maganda po yan, dating ninyo.
yeah, and yeah, and we have property in Madrid already, so we're pretty settled in Madrid. But
So you became po a Spanish national.
yeah, I'm a Spanish national. Yeah, when I
And
came
so
to
was your husband and your daughter, your family?
yes, as well. Yeah. After 5 years living in Madrid, yeah, we applied for our citizenship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you are basically a European national.
Yes.
Now, how you came to the UK po? Can you explain ba't kayo nagpunta sa UK and you left your life? You said you had a good life sa Spain, but
Yeah.
what made you decide naman to come to the UK?
Yeah, because we've been traveling to UK for holidays, visiting our friends and relatives here, and then it's been my dream to really work here in UK, and for my daughter as well to study here, because I know that she will have a better education here and a greener pasture. So what we my cousin in who's a nurse here in UK invited me, and that was year 2016. She invited me here, and she encouraged me to try to work here in the UK. So I applied here in Bodlon Pendine Park, and I met uh, Miss Arlene Ilano. She was the most amazing person that I met here in the UK. She was very supportive, and when I started working here in Pendine Park, it was not easy for me because my job way back in Madrid is far more different from what I'm working now. And actually, I have two job role here in Pendine Park in Bodlondon. I am a senior care practitioner, and I'm also an activity coordinator.
Okay. So nung dumating po kayo sa UK, did you make an application to come to the UK? I don't think you needed that because
No, you just you just get a plane ticket and then come here and then apply for a job. That's very easy for us before.
Yes, so it's as easy as that. Just decide one day you want to come to the UK, you buy a plane ticket, and then you start a new life.
Yes, yeah, but the transition of coming here in UK, it's not really easy for us because I came here with my daughter, and my husband was still working in Madrid. He just recently came to join us here because of this pandemic. It's really difficult for us to travel to see each other, so we decided that he will quit the job and come to join us here.
So you came to UK for what year? 2016?
Yeah, actually, I came here before a week before the election, the voting of the Brexit.
The referendum,
Yeah,
yes.
the referendum. Yeah.
Yes. So wala pa po kayong 5 years sa UK. It would be this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
This year. So when you found out po about that UK was leaving Europe, did you think it's going to affect your stay in the UK? What did you do?
Yeah, because I was worried when I heard that the Brexit won the majority votes. So I was thinking that, oh, what will happen to us? Because I decided really to work here and for my daughter to study here. What will
Mm.
happen to us? Uh, are we still um, have the rights to work, the freedom of movement. So that's the question that I've been asking so many times. And then I watched the news, and then I read the newspaper as well, and do some research as well for our situation here.
Mhm. So you found out for that in order to stay in the country, you had to do something to protect your immigration status. What did you do, Paul?
Yes, I applied for the EU settlement scheme. That was the settlement. But in our
Mm.
case, in my case, because I applied for the pre-settlement because it needs to be for it needs to be 5 years to stay here before you can apply the settlement. So pre-settlement, it's limited leave, and the and and after 5 years we can apply the settlements scheme.
Okay. So how are you finding life, Paul, and work dito sa UK?
uh at first it's not easy really to adjust, but little by little you are, oh, I'm seeing my pictures there. um Little by little, then you can adapt the situation here, especially the weather. The weather is not really good here, but pursuing my dreams for my daughter, not for me, for my daughter to have a greener pasture. So I need to do a lot of adjustment. And
Okay.
actually, honestly, I was the first Filipino who worked. I was the first Filipino from Madrid, Spain, who worked here in Bodland Pendine Park. And at this moment, um, we are 25 Filipino staff that came from Madrid, and I was the one who encouraged them to come and work here, and they're happy here.
That's amazing. So everybody actually benefited from the freedom of movement
Yes.
because they could just come from Europe and come and work in the UK. So do
Yeah.
you plan to stay for good in the UK?
Yes. At the moment, yes. Yeah, because my daughter is studying here, and
Mm.
I have a lot of questions for you, Mom. So
Okay.
yeah, um, my first question is that I have registered under the EU settlement scheme, but what effect does it have?
Okay, so just to explain to everybody, the EU settlement scheme is the process EU citizens living in the UK that can use to apply to continue living in the UK. So they must do that. It's open to EEA nationals, Swiss nationals, and their families as well can apply. The immigration status they need to continue to. It protects the immigration status basically so that they can continue to work, live, and study in the UK. So that's including your daughter if she's studying in the UK. But you must be in the UK already before the 31st of December 2020. But the deadline to register is on the 30th of June 2021. So you actually have another less than 6 months left to apply under the EU settlement scheme. It's free to apply to the scheme. So once you actually registered, then that's it, you're protected. Whether you've been here for less than 5 years, then you will be registered as a pre-settled status. If you've been here 5 years, then you will be registered settled status, and then it will be converted to indefinite leave to remain. So with you, Arlen, you do have until I don't know when you arrived. When did you arrive in the UK exactly?
That was April, a week
And
before
not
that.
long now. You'll be 5 years. Not
Yeah,
it's not. It's only for a few months, three,
yeah,
4 months, and
yeah.
then you can you can then switch to settled status.
Oh,
So
that's
that's very good. And then you're there. You're set
yeah,
to stay here indefinitely.
yeah. And what about our children? About the regarding their education, are they still have the same right before the Brexit, the free education? What about medical assistance, the student loans?
Okay, so regarding education, they can continue to study. They don't have to pay for any fees or anything like that. They can continue as they are. Regarding, what did you say? Sorry, about
Medical assistance.
medical. Yes, they
Yeah.
will still have free treatment under the NHS.
Mhm.
So everything again, as long as you're paying the national insurance, you through your work,
Yeah.
your whole family will be covered. I'm not sure about student loan. Some lenders, they would want, one of their requirements is you have to be settled in the country. So, or even like you have to be a British national. So you'll have to find out their own policies to do that, to see if you're actually eligible for student loans. That's
Okay.
good. I mean, that's great, and it's lovely to meet you, Arlene, again, because we met in Wales,
Yeah,
and
last
she's
month.
actually in our Kontra Corona docu-series 4, which is out now. You can watch on One You Connect, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's amazing what you have done, what your team has done for your organization. So congratulations to you. Well done, and thank you for joining again our show today on One EU Connect.
Thank you, Attorney
Take
Crystal.
care, Paul.
Yeah, stay
To
safe.
continue on, bye bye.
Bye.
Now, what's going to happen now as of 1st of January 2021 in the UK? European nationals who want to come and live, study, or work in the UK must apply under the new UK immigration rules. Chad, do you have my slide? I think it's slide number 3. So everything's changed. So as of the 1st of January, the government or the Home Office has announced a new immigration rules for anyone wanting to come and study and work in the UK. So as I mentioned before, there is an EU settlement scheme, and you can register for those who are already living in the UK. They can register until the 30th of June 2021, including their family members. Now, European nationals who want to come to the UK for short trips, they can come without a visa and can stay up to 6 months. And then for EU nationals visiting the UK, unless EU citizens have settled or pre-settled status, they will need private health insurance, as NHS treatment will no longer be free. So we touched on that early on with Arlene. So Brexit is such a big topic, but for today, it's just about freedom of movement, the impact of Brexit on freedom of movement. And thank you again for Arlene for gracing her presence in our show today. So that's it for me. Rose?
Yes, we will have, Crystal, a Brexit series so that we can tackle different topics about Brexit. It's important for me, my master's education was funded by EU, so we have to understand what the consequences are in terms of leaving the EU. Ayan,
Absolutely.
may full disclosure kayo, ha? my I was my Erasmus Mundus Masters was actually funded by European Union. Anyway, before we go and close the segment, because we have a very important announcement for later, may babatiin lang ako because we're very lucky to have May Parsons. Busy day sa kanila for the week since the second wave and third wave na ngayon, but they granted us the interview. Yung mga kaibigan daw niya all over the world nanonood. Mga kaibigan po ito ni May Parsons, Ronald Jael or Jael, Rochelle Chavez in Louisiana, Francis Cubaruvias in Canada, brothers Rainiel Raymond and Richard Sestina, cousins Gay and Kenneth Portes, Joy and King Arellano, Angelica, Auntie Vivian Portes, and cousin. Oh, ayan. May, I've greeted all your relatives, your friends who are watching. Maraming salamat po. We are very grateful dahil nakasama namin si May Parsons and of course, Dr. Bernadette Prado Casanova. So amazing lady, inspiring Filipino women. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Magbabalik po ang One You Connect. Stay tuned for the Tagalog classes and karate. You will get the information. We will be back. Nagbabalik po ang One You Connect and dahil po sa mga request ninyo tungkol sa impormasyon sa classes at pati na rin po ang karate class, narito ngayon kasama natin si Miss Marie Tanahalan. Hi Marie!
Hello, Rose. Hi, Rose. Hi, Kuto. Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for waiting. So, there you go. Please tell us about the Tagalog class.
Okay, so we've been running our Tagalog class since December. So it's a 6-week course and it's due to finish this coming Sunday, next week. However, because of the demand, as you mentioned, Rose, we have decided to extend the course for another 6 weeks. So if there are anyone there who would like to learn some Tagalog, there will be the opportunity to do so. Every Sundays between 11:30 in the morning till 12:30 in the afternoon, UK time. There you go. On the screen is the information. Basically, all you have to do is just send a message, a text message to the number that you can see, and the Zoom details for all the classes will be sent to you, so you can join in the comfort of your home or wherever you are in the world, on the beach, at home.
Not allowed to go out?
No. Well, if your house happens to be on the beach side, you're one of the lucky ones.
Yes. Marie, can you please tell us about your organization, what it does, and what are the classes that you conduct?
Is that in terms of the Tagalog course or
the Tagalog course and also the project that you have started?
Oh, yes, of course. So these projects are have been initiated by the Kaizen Academy for Sports Development. It's a not-for-profit organization, and essentially it sources funds to be able to deliver these classes and courses free of charge to the public. So we basically, the Tagalog course as well as the karate courses that are going to be available has been through the coronavirus community fund and distributed by the National Lottery Community Fund as well. As you can see, these are some of the photographs of some of our members who've been with us for a while, and also some new members. And the karate classes are delivered by the Japanese graded instructors, DBS. They regularly go to Japan before pandemic to train every year. And so yes, it's available in East London. So once the pandemic
restrictions, sorry, the national lockdown restrictions lifted, then these classes will also be available at a physical venue. So you can come along in a socially distant manner with all the COVID protocols in place, and you can train for free.
I see. Marie, so the classes that you have for us, for everybody to join, are Tagalog classes and karate?
Yes. So the Tagalog classes are on Sundays, and it will be finishing on the 7th of March. And the karate classes will be starting from next Thursday via Zoom, because obviously we're not allowed to leave our homes yet. So these classes will be conducted via Zoom on a Thursday evening between 6 and 7. And then once the restrictions are lifted, then they will be able to come along for the same times locally in the Haggerston School in Hackney, again on a Thursday evening.
Okay, Crystal, you have questions?
Actually, I was going to say, it's amazing. I'm so happy now that, someone like you promoting our language so that the second generation can learn and speak Tagalog or Filipino. So it's not many in the 90s, or not. I came here in the 1990s, and nobody was actually able to say, you go to that place, you can learn, the language. But my children, the second generation, their first language is English. But when you're teaching them Tagalog, is it just is speaking or written as well, or how do you?
That's a good question, Crystal. Thank you. The beginner's course is mainly through speaking and engagement of the students themselves. Many of them actually, I have noticed, have been taking notes as well. So it's more to do with conversational Tagalog and learning the some of the basics of this language, which is I've looked around. It's actually not offered much. There's your French, Spanish, even Japanese, but there's not many Tagalog courses out there, especially free ones. So I think that's probably why there's quite a few who are interested. Even my children are on there because they also are the second generation, and I think it's useful for them to know, our language.
Yes, very useful. So thank you. You're doing such a great job. And you said you're supported by the National Lottery?
Yeah, so the Coronavirus Community Support Fund, yes, through the National Lottery. This is part of our Back on Your Feet program, which is designed to help families and young children, get access to these sort of courses, especially the ones who've been affected by the pandemic. May I add that the Tagalog course that you can see now on the screen is currently being delivered by Crystal Binalya, direct from the Philippines. So she tunes in every Sunday and teaches the course to everybody.
Excellent.
So Crystal also, Julia attends that class. So this is the class that I mentioned last week. So she was she was very excited.
Yes,
very excited to learn Tagalog, and because we spent a few months in the Philippines last June, and she picked up some words, and she wanted to continue with it. But of course, in our house, it's difficult kung magtatagalog kaming dalawa because we are, yung dad niya hindi nakakaintindi. So, kailangan English kami palagi because ayaw naman namin na parang left out yung dad niya. So, mahirap talaga mag-practice. So, the language class is very important. Really appreciate it. And also, the karate, because I've always wanted to put Julia in that karate class. Kaya lang malayo. It's East London. So, it's impossible. Now, it's locked down. It's possible because we do it online.
Yes. I think that's the silver lining out of this pandemic is it brings the communities together and allows different communities from different places to be able to join in.
So meron siya syempre, Crystal, na pro dun sa karate, and merong beginners. And so Julia started the beginners class for karate para hindi naman siya also overwhelmed by that. And salamat sa National Lottery Community Fund for this project also. timely at ito talaga yung hinahanap natin during the lockdown. I cannot monitor anymore the live of this show, no? Of this one. I'm lost in terms of trying to find some of the questions kung may mga tanong yung mga kababayan po natin regarding the classes on character languages. Hindi ko ma-access yung yung monitor ko. Daisy Esguerra. So Crystal, if you have some questions there while Marie is with us, so maybe you can read them. Until when is the free character?
Online. You have a website, Marie, for people to
yes. The website you can actually find if you go to Facebook and search Kaizen Academy for sports development, there will be a poster up there. But if you make a note of this number, it's 07743 764 234. If you just send us a text message on that number, either for the Tagalog course or the free karate classes, then you will get the Zoom details. Because obviously for security reasons, everybody has to register first before you receive the Zoom access codes. So if I just repeat that number again, Rose, it's 07743 764 234. So the Tagalog course will be running until the 7th of March, 2021, and the online karate classes will run until the end of February, and then we are hoping we'll be out of lockdown by then, and it will continue until Easter time. So
take note, Daisy is Garrett, because she asked that question. So Marie just answered that. So contact that number 07743764234. Yeah.
Yes.
And then until the 7th of March is going to run
for the Tagalog. Yes.
The Tagalog.
Yes. And the free karate lessons will run until Easter time. So plenty of time. Yes, plenty of time. So in the meantime, it's done online, and then once restrictions are lifted, you will have the opportunity to come along to a physical class and receive a free karate uniform. So it's also part of the funding. Yes, so you will get your free uniform, obviously while stocks last. So come along, join us, get fit, stay healthy, and learn martial arts.
Martial arts and Tagalog. So maraming salamat, Marie, for your time. Thank you for waiting. Pero natapos yung class niya 12:30, kaya tama lang. Kaya also, gives me this information na it's time for us to wrap up because my daughter keeps on knocking on the door. Tapos na yung klase niya
Yeah, Rose, I will just for your information, everybody who is watching here, I will forward Rose the posters for the 2 free courses, and hopefully they'll have the opportunity to post it on their Facebook, Juan EU Connect, and then it'll be easily accessible from there. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Marie. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Crystal, if you have some greetings to do, kasi nga nawala na internet connection ko on my phone. Hindi na po ako makabasa ng mga pagbate, but kanina nakita ko my brother was watching, a few of my friends were watching sa Pilipinas po yan. So thank you for tuning in at salamat sa mga messages ninyo. Kung hindi po masasagot ngayon, we'll come back to that later. Yes, go ahead, Crystal.
Yeah, some message from Riddell Francisco. He says, good news. Again, from Daisy Msgera. She's an avid follower of One You Connect. Thank you for joining us today. And this is in Spanish from Edward Gregorio Gasita. So he said, Viva los madrileños and UK adelante.
Whoa.
What is that?
I think I need to subscribe to a Spanish class.
Arlen, what's Arlen? We should translate that for us. But sounds good to me.
Okay.
and there's more from him. He says, muy bien, cariño, excelente. Entrevista. I hope I'm reading it right, but sounds good because I know what cariño means and muy bien. Yes, okay. And dia and na, well done to you. So that's what she said. But you know what? I had to cut short my Brexit segment because of the time. But One You Connect did point out on our comments box that it's reciprocal. I'm going back to my discussion about just quickly in UK. You have until June 30th of June 2021 to register in the UK. It's the same. If you are a British national living in Europe, you have that deadline as well. So if you have moved to Europe, there's a transition period as well. You need to apply for resident status. You have until the 30th of June 2021. So during the transition period, the UK has separate agreements, withdrawal agreements with the 31 EU countries, and that ended as well on the 31st of December 2020. So British nationals who wish to enter UK will not need to have a visa to stay in the EU countries for up to 90 days. So that's 3 months. So if you're British national, you want to go to France, for example, you can stay there for up to 90 days in any 100-day period, as long as they do not work. So, that's
What about Marie? You're affected by that because you do a lot of your karate competition in Europe, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we do have a tournament team, and before pandemic, we do compete in different parts of the world, from Japan, even all the way to Hawaii, Europe, Germany, Italy. So yes, the visas affected the travel.
So but you have the information now. You don't need a visa. 90 days, as long as your competition doesn't last for 90 days, you can stay.
I hope not. I don't think I know that much karate.
Thank you so much for joining us. Maraming salamat. We would have to end our show. We're over time, but it's a very informative show. And thank you for sharing your message and your greetings with us. Kasama po namin kayo sa pagkonekta sa mga Pinoy sa Europa ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Dahil ang kwento ni Juan sa Europa ay kwento ng bawat Pilipino sa iba-ibang sulok ng mundo.
Sana po ay nag-iwan kami ng aral, impormasyon, ngiti at pag-asa.
Thank you to the National Lottery Community Fund for being our funder for this project, Kontra Corona. Kabayan, we will be serving you in the next 2 months. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal.
I'm Crystal Dias. Hanggang sa muli.
Sa One
You Connect.
Thank you.
Juan, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, pinagmulan at babalikan. Konting tiis na lang at hanggang